Hey, so this is USA versus France. This is from one of the most recent, I think it's either the World Championships of 2018 or the Volleyball Nations League. I'm pretty sure it's the World Championships. So before I've done a lot of videos on Brazil from 2006, 2007. I was talking about their modern game. This is pretty much the two best setters in the world right now. For France and for USA, they play both obviously a modern style. And you can kind of compare, they're very, very similar. I mean, the game is not any different. The way they play is the way Brazil played, and I think, obviously, I've talked about Brazil perfecting it, but if you watch, I mean, the games are very, very similar, so hopefully I don't talk too much in this video and it doesn't last for hours, but this is kind of a technical video. First off, I'm going to go through a little bit, I'm not going to comment on every single play, but on good plays, and I'll try to give you a sense of what's going on here. A little bit about Taylor Sander. He's serving here. He used to have a kind of a different jump serve toss, and now he's kind of got this low, quick toss because his arm is so fast. I think it just kind of brings down the amount of time that he has to think in the air. I know he's kind of a analytical, from what I know of him and from what I've heard of him, from players that have played with him. He tends to overthink things sometimes, which a lot of volleyball players do. So I think this kind of quickens his mind up a little bit. So if you are having trouble with a huge, huge toss, try something different. I always like to try a little something different, so I'm going to let this thing run. Good seam set. I mean, the first set, he pushes it across. They are in row 5 right now. France is receiving. Grebennikov, the libero for France, is one of the best in the world. It's a good seam serve. Perfect pass. He really spreads it out. You can see Ingapeth out here really getting far out here. He's getting way out just because the pass was so high. So if the pass has time to get high, then you can rotate out. All USA blockers are pretty good. It's kind of a decent pass. Their hands are all, not down, but they're shoulder length, so they can move easily. Now the pass is kind of high. I think Holt here kind of drops him too low a little bit at first, especially because the ball's up in the air. But he does a good job of jumping up quickly. Tunieti, the setter for France, sets a pretty good little quick ball. I kind of like running the middle at first because the middle doesn't get really set that much internationally, and if you kind of establish the middle, you can kind of run everything around. So it's a pretty big basic spread right here. You can see both guys being really spread out, both pin hitters. I mean, they're both, the net's 30 feet across and they're outside the court, so both of them are at their optimal as far as they can possibly be from the setter, and then the set's right in the middle. So you have a pretty spread out offense here. I like running the quick to begin with. USA's in row 5 also. Same thing, they kind of just, a lot of international setters, a lot of setters in general, kind of like to, I wouldn't say necessarily show up the other player, but the other setter, but they kind of like, if you ever notice if some setter dumps, the other setter will dump like the next play. Or if they set the middle, the next setter will set the middle. Or if they set the pipe, the next setter will set the pipe. Like, they kind of, I don't know, it's what you can do, I can do better kind of thing, and they get the kind of one up on them. So quick set to the middle, killed. All the passers, you can see it's a float serve from right to left. This is pretty much the international standard right here, right to left serve, trying to hit that live hitter, or the libero on his left side so it skims off like a rock kind of. All the passers are up. You can see them, they're all taking with their hands because it's a float serve. So they all kind of stand up, they're watching. A lot of information. Karch talked a lot about this in one of his videos. Karch talked about like picking up as much information as possible from the setter's hand. From the server's hand. So even in his approach, as a toss, you're gathering all these information I mean, it's pretty. If you do a lot of sports research science, you'll notice the best athletes are taking in as much information as possible and making little educated guesses. And since they have good technique and they know what the techniques are, they can kind of tell when someone's giving away a tell. Or this is not just volleyball related. This is every sport. They look for tells. You know, they study, they analyze, they know everything about this guy. So you can kind of see his body's angling one way, the way he lifts up his arm, the way he extends his arm. If you take a picture from here and then you compare those pictures, you're going to see different kind of angles and different attacks for different serves. So study everything he does, the servers. So you're going to gain as much information from just his toss, his body facing, which angle he's going, how high the ball is when he tosses it. Taylor Sander got a pretty good beat on it. He knows exactly what he's going to do. Just overhead passes, grabs and throws it. Now it's a pretty high toss again, and he comes for the pipe, so he's still getting the attack. So you want all these kind of attackers. You want 4 attackers, obviously, as possible. And Mike is a pretty good setter to dump, too. So, I mean, high on the net, where everything's jumping. You want to keep everything high, especially if you have a middle that's like, 6'10" and jumps. This doesn't necessarily go for anybody that's 6'10" and jumps, but if you have a middle that's high up here, keep the pass high up here, contact the ball up here, and so everything's on this plane up here. It's not, the ball's just never coming down if it doesn't have to be. Especially over the shorter Ingapeth here. Ingapeth is a good player for France. I'm sure you know Ingapeth is right here. But he's definitely his least best skill is blocking. So, I mean, they're trying to run over it. Plus, that's why they have their best blocker with them here, too. So they do try to exploit that. USA is trying to exploit that. So they want to run on Ingapeth as much as possible. Teams do this a lot. Good serve. I think it was just in the seam. Good closing block. This was the play before. Max Holt has a pretty nice jump serve here. You can see him opening up pretty well. Most jump servers that are pretty good, they don't have this. They do necessarily have this little curve to the ball. They don't necessarily just go straight down with the serves here. They have a little bit of a curve. So you're trying to get that nice little curve going on their serve. I'm not sure why you would serve Kerbennikov. I'm sure he missed hit him. There's no way that's a scouting report to hit him. I'm sure. I mean, you're serving from long distance. I'm sure you try to hit the middle here, but you don't want to hit Kerbennikov, the libero. Nice spread out offense. David Smith's hands are down here, but he's a very, very fast middle. He's actually 6'6", 6'7", and he's there because he can move, not because he's tall. So he has his hands down so he can move quickly. Maybe they should have set middle again. But Micah makes a good one-on-one block. If you're one-on-one, you can do this kind of V blocking here. You can see the V blocking one-on-one. Usually guys don't hit straight field goal. But this hand, if you see better pixelated pictures, his hand is kind of curved in, so his hand is like that. It's not facing out of bounds like that. And this hand is also facing in. So we got hands turning in like that. David Smith is doing a good job closing the block here. He's trying to close this gap right here. You just want to close that gap. Looks like Micah might have got him with his left hand there. I'm sure it was a lift also on the play. So look how long these guys are covering too. Look how low they are. They're on the ground basically here. I think that was a lift. That's why they stopped the play. There we go. See, I think he hit the server that she was trying to do there. He's not serving Kerbennikov. They're not trying to serve Kerbennikov. They're trying to serve the other setter. Okay, pulls him off the net. Pulls him all the way to the sideline. If he's this far, he's not getting around the ball so much. He's not coming around, so he doesn't have much energy to push it back. So he has to kind of just launch it up. or launch the pipe, but it's kind of a rare to do that for the pipe because these guys are all neutral and they can all collapse on the pipe, so this isn't really a good decision. So D, kind of, hopefully he can hit it seam. Hopefully he can get this ball seam pretty quickly. It's not going to be too high of a set. Let's see if he hits this seam. So, exactly. So he hits this, he's trying to hit this kind of a quick set while the middle has to stay disciplined because he thinks it's either a pipe or if he shoots it out here. But this seam, like I said right here, is what he's trying to set rather quick and exploit. He gets it right through that seam. It's a tempo set still, so you kind of at least want to keep it still in tempo. Yeah, kind of just a little push. Could have been a little bit farther. Misserved. The USA has a lot of jump servers, and you can see they're going for it pretty early here. Ingapeth here. He's a big server. He has a lot of speed, but he's coming straight ahead a lot of the times. So his angle of attack is gotten a little bit different over the years. He used to come more straight ahead, but now you can see this angle. He wants to play this way, and this speed isn't that much. This isn't that hard of a serve anymore. So he's still trying to play this ball every time this way here. And there is some spin on it, like I said before. So Libero Soji here, he does a pretty good job. He does a pretty good job of leaning into the pass here. So the ball's here, like I said before, his hands, if you can see him through his legs, aren't outside of his leg here. That's his leg. Obviously that's his leg, and his hands approach are inside of his leg, so he's still taking the ball centered. Especially with a serve that's coming from these angles like this, it's slicing. You definitely want to kind of get your body weight behind it. Same thing here, pipe. It's just like a very controlled dig here. These jump serves are being controlled digs here. Grebennikov with the dig here. Let's see for a second. Sorry, the fast forward button and stuff is kind of difficult sometimes. So Pipey runs right at him. And USA's style, if he is in this rotation with Anderson on the right side, they really like to go. They like to go pipe here, and they like to go back here. That's just from what I've seen or what I would scout them, just from my own knowledge. I'm watching them a lot. Grebennikov kind of shoots up, takes this ball pretty wide base, so he's not trying to move too much with his legs, but he is trying to center the ball. So centered it perfectly on the dig, getting your chest behind the dig. I like this shot. This is a kind of a high flat shot. There's no way he's aiming for the court or anything. He's just kind of going up. You got a big block here. The ball's kind of out of tempo. Both blockers are up perfectly here. You got a lot of hands all up here facing, and the ball's just trying to be hit straight ahead. You're just trying to hit straight ahead through out of bounds. We block a lot this way because of the hard angle. You can't really react to that ball. And this just has to be kind of a rundown ball. Hopefully the block will slow this down a little bit. But he kind of hit it too perfectly, where the block didn't slow it down enough. It's a good shot. Again, Ingapeth kind of just puts the hammer down. Same thing. Coming where he's facing. So you're taking in all this information. If I'm a passer, my feet are facing the server. They're facing the server, my feet. Your angle of your arms dictates back to the setter. So that's the first thing. First, my feet are facing the setter. I'm sorry, my feet are facing the server. So I'm lining up, watching the server. I'm gathering information, high toss. I see him do a full approach. He's rotating pretty well. His shoulders are rotated in here. His chin is very up, so he's going in, really reaching and attacking the ball. Shoulders, the ball is right over his right shoulder, so he has a good attacking range. So I would think at this moment he's going to hit the ball pretty hard. Soji gets hit pretty hard, lit up a little bit. Anderson goes up. This is one of the toughest plays in volleyball. I really recommend, is if you're a coach or something, just have balls here and just start tossing from the end line, or have your setter here, and just start tossing balls from behind line. I really like to put a player right here, a setter right here, and a setter right here, and then the balls go out to them, just like that. So you got a setter right here, and you can just have hitters coming from here and here. And then the setter is just set the long way. And you're just getting used to these sets over your head. Or you can stand in the middle. This is one of the hardest balls to hit in volleyball, obviously. It's the over-the-head back set, which he does a great job of setting that ball. Taylor Sander does. That's a perfect set by Taylor Sander. Anderson's watching. You see his head is up at the ball. Especially on these balls, you know you're going to hit high and flat. Don't worry about the block. You know there's going to be a three-man block, so just don't hit low. You know not to hit low. Just keep your eye on the ball so you contact it well. Nice high flat shot. Know the relationship of you and the net. You can see the ground, so you know how far you are away from the net. You know there's going to be a three-man block or a big two-man block, and you just hit high, flat, deep corners. I've gone over Matt Anderson's serve a lot. You can see that in the other videos if you want. I'm not going to go over too much of him right now. Kevin Leroux, he pretty much is a straight-ahead server. He kind of gets aces. His main aces are here, here, and here. But then if you creep in too much this way of the passer, he will sneak one. Not very hard, but he'll sneak one there. So you kind of got to know that's his scouting report. But his arm swing allows for a lot of speed right here, right here, and right here, and right here. And this is kind of the off shot. Good quick tempo pass. They're in row 2. First ball to Ben Patch here. Ben Patch is a big dude. He touches like 12.5. But still, you're not reaching with him. They're playing low with him. So at least you can't sneak the ball through. Let him go over the top. Let guys go over the top. Usually their most powerful spikes aren't over the top of players. So you can still see he's pressing and his hands are facing low and tight after his finishing move here. He gets to the line, so this guy's taking the line away from him, and he kind of forces him to turn angle. Also, he's a young player, so he's kind of inexperienced a little bit internationally. He'll get a lot better, obviously. But he is a young player. It's kind of going just body line seam there. Body line means the way his body is taking him. Now, if he's sitting wrist away or even sharp cross court, he'll cut the ball across. This was just pretty much body line where he hit just straight ahead like that. His body's coming in. And he hits that way too. If he hits sharp cross, he can hit it sharp cross, or he can turn line. That's wrist away if he's coming from that angle. So this is pretty much just a standard body line right where he's facing hit. Not too predictable. Not too difficult to predict. There you go, Leroux again, down the middle. That's his tough serve. And USA sets Sanders a lot on this rotation. They just went to the pin back, so they were going to go to the pin forward here. which I would do if I was a setter. I would try to spread out. Kind of missed, especially if your middle's coming from this over here. He's coming all the way around here. They usually don't set that often. They should have probably set that ball in retrospective, but this is the play before. Another good serve, perfect pass, the ball's up in the air. You can see the middle coming all the way out down here. He's getting a huge run up for a middle. See, middle stay back. He's also getting this serve right here if he needs it. He's kind of almost the fourth passer. That way Ben Patch doesn't have to pass. So he's waiting for that cross-court cut. But he's going to make this move all the way and watch. He should have gotten set. They're opposite for France. He just kind of takes off. He's committed to his guy. He's not going to worry about the middle. If they give it the middle, he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to give it this guy. So you can see him turning before the play even happens. So he's just releasing. Shoulders are separated. He's kind of watching. He's still watching with his eyes. You can see. And he's going to jump back just for a little bit of help if he has to. But his main guy is Sanders. So he's waiting on him. You can see him already kind of leaning. And if it does go middle, then he'll jump with one hand backwards. But it's not his priority. Does a great job of getting over the net, though, and turning. See, this is what's really important for blocking. A lot of players will face the hitter like this. See, his hands right now are kind of facing this way. But the best blockers are facing that way and facing the hitter, and then they turn back in before the ball is hit. So he's kind of turning, and now you can see his hands rotating in. So this move has to happen. So it's one. I talked about 1-2-3 blocking a little bit. 1-2-3 blocking is obviously the prep. Is 1. The jump over the net, so getting over the net right away is 2. And then the third is just like that pressing move while your hands are already over the net. So you're not making a. See, he's already over the net, and now he's just pushing forward back into the court. So that's his third motion. It's a great block. Decent cover. There's Leroux, some power from Leroux right there. That's his body line power. So taking information, passers, you really got to watch the server the whole time. You got to watch what his body's doing, how hard he's going, what his arm looks like, arm contact, everything. You're picking up as much. You should be picking up 75% of the information before the ball even crosses the net. If you're just picking up the information when the ball is kind of in the net, you're done for. You should be picking up 75% of your information now. Right about there, you should be figuring out what the ball's already doing. Yeah. It's a good, nice jump serve. Still a body line where he can get some power. David Smith rarely. Servers on the left side usually hit the. He's kind of controlled. He's hitting the live passer here. This is where he gets a lot of his speed. But you got Grametapov right there, the libero. So he's one of the best liberos in the world. So even trying to challenge him down the line isn't going to do much. So he's kind of trying to go off speed. Not off speed, but 75% speed to the live passer, so you have to at least hit and pass. Pretty good right at his feet, too. That's a good serve. Now it's Tinueti, the setter here, usually plays some more tempo, even on a bump pass, so I think the outside is running in thinking it's going to be a little bit more of a, tempo pass, and Holt is getting way up there. So he's just trying to high hands again. He got high hands last time. Pretty good, and just misses it this time. There, Holt. Sorry. David Smith, if you're the passer, you got to notice right about here, his arm goes a little bit higher. It's reaching a little bit. Now you can see it's, if you can tell, the ball here is not necessarily over his hitting shoulder. It's not right here for power. It's over his head. So the really only thing he can do is kind of off speed shoot it. He's really extended this way. So these are little tells that you got to pick up. So the ball's over his head. He's not going to really get much power over it. So he has to chip it in. Ingapeth does a great diving collapse. Plays pretty fast. Now at the highest level here, you have to be okay with giving away some things, and at this point, Holt is committing. They think they're trying to guess. They're guessing he's going to go out back. They guessed wrong, but that's fine because you still have Ben Patch is a pretty big blocker, but he's making a kind of a small crossover move, just a hop step. That's kind of not a great move internationally. You should have gotten to the line. It's a lot of line. Mike is not there either. So not great execution by USA here. Just not a good hop step. Mike is not all the way to the line. The guy hits it right to the line. Boyer first serve. Yeah, it's pretty money. I mean, if you want to set Anderson from back row over Holt, I mean, it's pretty unstoppable. Not a harder serve, easily controlled. He gets into his approach. And you can see they run Holt just like Brazil used to do. They run him in the sideways here so that everything feels like it's going this way for the middle blocker, the opposing middle blocker. And then Anderson comes up right there. Le Goff, the other middle for France right now, is doing a pretty good job at reading. France is doing a pretty good job at reading. You can see Boyer just taking out his player. He's staying in here for the pipes. We're talking about blockers here, and he's got him also, but you can kind of see he gives that jab step over here. But you want to run, if you want to run an X, I'm sorry, if you want to run a pipe, you want to run this kind of guy going this way and then him over the top of it. It's exactly how Brazil used to do it. I mean, there's not a lot of difference. Another miss serve. There's a lot of miss serves. USA is a very aggressive serving team in this game, and it's kind of biting them for the first game. So you got to start off serving well, obviously. Ace serve. Rissard is a pretty good server. Strong lefty. Joust, here we go a little bit. Sorry here. I was talking about the joust a little bit. You don't want to just keep pressing it forward after contact. You got to make... This is a great serve in the seam right here. Obviously, his body angle is facing this angle, though. There's got to be more communication from these guys here. That's pretty unacceptable. Even though it's coming pretty fast, though. I mean, see, now look how close they are. They made the adjustment here. Look at all this space. It is about adjusting. Next time they're like that much further apart. He'll come in and get this ball and this ball. He's not going to beat it down the line, I don't think, that well. But now look how close they are. Yep, they even go into a into a four-man pass. Ben Patch comes up here, he turns in there. So on the joust, you can see here, they both go up. They're trying to both time it so they're the second person to contact it. The second person usually wins the joust. So once they make forward contact, though, Ingapeth has kind of got it around his arms more, and he's pushing to the side. So you don't want to just push and push forward and keep pushing forward. You want to push and swipe. Push and grab it, and then use your leverage to launch it out of bounds direction. So he's pushing it not just forward, but then he's swiping it. They make a good play. Ben Patch sees us. He comes up quickly. Ooh, nice play by the libero, actually. And great high hands hit. Libero instantly knows it's a bad pass, so he's flying up. He's running, he's sprinting there. He sees great one-handed dig. Taylor Sanders just still ready. He's still waiting. Just a great swing. Here's Sander again with that low new toss he's been doing the last year. Missed again. A lot of missed serves, though, if you know what to say, but yeah, when they're on, though, they're amazing. So once again, Le Goff float serves right there. Ben Patch kind of overlaps him. This is the second time Le Goff has served Ben Patch down the line here. Sorry, Taylor Sander down the line. All passers. Look how far Matt Anderson is up. Obviously, he's 6'10", so maybe you don't have to stand on the 10-foot line because you can get every ball that's behind him. But if you're getting a float serve and you want to take it with your hands, you can scoot up. Maybe not that extreme because he is 6'10". Kind of more where Sander is. He's about a little bit more than halfway in the court. Patch is going slow to fast. He's still keeping down the line as a reference. One-on-one kind of hangs. He kind of comes inside too much. You see his feet here. And that's pretty far inside the court. And now he has to jump out. Look where he lands. So he jumps from here. He jumps from here, but now he lands over there that way. It's not usually what he does. It's a good set. He came in too much. He came in like that. Now, if you do this too extreme and you're not the most ridiculous... I mean, Ben Patch is one of the most ridiculous athletes to be playing volleyball. You know, 6'8", 6'9", jumps 42 inches. So, I mean, if you're not that extreme of an athlete, these little inside steps can cause a lot of inconsistencies and a lot of damage to your shoulder if you happen to hit outside your arm. He kind of makes this look a little bit easier because he is so athletic. But he doesn't get very much pop on it. He kind of just guides it to his standard. Holt, another jump serve. Maybe he's cross body. Nope. Straight body line. Great dig. Standing back on the end line. Holt comes just body line. When we're talking body line, this is what we mean. Body line means straight ahead with where his body's going. This is pretty predictable. Taylor Sander gets his depth. Two-hand karate chops. Pretty good dig. Holt makes a nice little backwards bump set. So you got to practice these bump sets. You got to practice these bump sets. You got to practice these hits over your head. The ball over your head. You got to practice these sets. He gets a little bit of pace on it. Boyer just kind of unloads on it, angle. He's a real big outside in guy. He comes way outside to get maximum body angle. Just he knows, kind of where he's gonna hit it, and then he'll turn it down the line sometimes. But he is definitely one of these guys that just uses power and just comes right at you and just wants to overpower you. It's kind of like running the ball down the middle in football. If you have a big running back and you have a good offensive line, and you just kind of run the ball straight ahead. You can see even with a small block, Tenueti here. I mean, this guy, I've played against him in France. A couple of my videos, you'll see me playing against Tenueti and Grimenikov. And he's a small dude. But he's still taking up some space when he blocks, even though he's getting only that far over the net. His hands are solid. They're not just little targets. His hands are facing back into the court. He's close to his middle. If you hit the hands, it's going to go either up in direction or it's going to go, in play. It's not going to be a tool. He doesn't give you much to kind of tool around. So even if you're a small blocker, you can be pretty effective. It's that hold to the last second. Him and Ricardo, the setter for Brazil, the old setter for Brazil, they wait just to the last second and then spike and then set. This is kind of like that outside in approach because it's so fast. And Anderson really likes to hit this kind of angled. He kind of likes to come here and then overpower. If you watch Dante a lot for Brazil, he does this exact same thing. I mean, this USA team and other teams are really trying to be very similar to that Brazil team. I kind of actually want to. I'll probably record this image, and then I'll record Dante's picture of him doing it, and I'll overlap them and show you what I mean. So look for that video too. Passes inside the court, so the serve is perfect here. You want to get that. You want to get the live hitter here, having to get and then all the way out here, so it's very difficult. That's the hardest move. You want to get in this seam, getting that live passer to pass to his right. It's just a good high hit. I mean, the guy's 6'10" and then jumps and is smart with his play. Yeah, another missed serve. He kind of just float serve this time, and he just kind of hit it long. He went from his jump serve. He has kind of a hybrid sometimes. He does either one, so. Ingapeth straight ahead again. Great dig by Ingapeth. Boyer just chops Ingapeth. Ingapeth has hit a couple balls pretty straight ahead. There's the miss serve. Everything about Ingapeth here is saying he wants to come here or here or here, alright? So, I mean, the more he turns, the more power he's going to produce. So you have to be picking this all up. Pretty good solid platform. The hands are away from his body. Then he recoils just a little bit back after contact. Perfect pass. Quick tempo to get to that line. I mean, he had a lot of line. He still tried to hit cross. I think he's trying to avoid Grebennikov a lot. A lot of players do this. I mean, their game plan here is to leave the line open because you have the best libero on your team and in the world. But if you have a great digger on your own team, whatever team it is, you got to look at the scale of who you're playing. So obviously, if you're playing some club team and you're on a club team, and your best libero is a very good digger, he's the best in the gym, or he's better than their hitters, and you want to leave that line and open up that seam. You want to open up that line and just let him just dig that line, then that is an option, obviously. So Anderson tries to avoid hitting Grebennikov as much as he can here. France does have a very good defensive team. I mean, their floor defense is one of the best in the world. That's why they have him. There it is. So Ingapeth has kind of been suckering you in a little bit. He's been coming straight body line a lot. He's hit a couple serves, so it kind of lulls you this way as this passer. And then he'll pick his spot and then fire one as hard as he can to the corner. And he hit it this time. Perfect spot. After a serve, he kind of just, he's kind of trying to mess with you. Ingapeth definitely tries to mess with you, so he's trying to do a little hybrid. That's perfect as he can get. So next toss, hybrid, I'm sure he wants this one back. So what the hybrid does right here, if you can notice, everyone's locked in deep. Everyone's on these deep passing lines here. Once he bounces the ball and he looks like he's going to float serve, look at all these players. They scoot up. They're all scooting up now. They all take steps up. So now they're out of position to take a normal jump serve. So that's kind of the magic behind a hybrid, is you get them out of position to pass a jump serve. So now they're all up. So now he's going to hit him in the face, basically, or going to go attack it, but he just mishits it by a lot. Good strategy, just not a good execution. Anderson again here. This guy's third time he's just gone really, really high hands. This hitter, this lefty here. I forget his name. I'm sure it'll say it. But he's there for Roy. I don't know. Great pass. Gets his body behind it. His arms aren't outside of his body. They're inside of his knee still. The ball's pushed forward, so he's not going to play with the middle or the back. Sorry, he's not going to play with the middle or the pipe. He's either going to play this way or this way. That's why Sanders still waiting. Here they come. Here they come. He's hit 3 balls so far, 3 times super high hands. Maybe you don't reach with them so much. There we go. There's LaRue's not so great speed. We talked about LaRue. Talked about LaRue having a lot of power here, 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 and here. And then he kind of does this off shot. So you have to pick up that up early, though. So his arm comes up pretty quickly, so you can see it's not loading up too much. Usually he loads up a long time and he slices it. With his arm swing here, it's just kind of elbow up really quickly and he just taps it. So he's trying to get that live passer to dive forward. You gotta pick that up. Makes a great move. Ooh. He's taking away the big part of the court. I'm thinking, I mean, here's the center of the court. So he's got to protect the big part of the court. He's got to protect all that. I'd rather have this blocker block all this than block just this little angle. You see how much different spaces he goes over here? So he takes up the big part of the court and blocks them pretty well. Also, with this short serve, the passer kind of comes up and he's off balance. So the middle can kind of, maybe doesn't think it's going to go outside, so the middle can kind of stay on the middle. So he's kind of taking, hopefully takes that outside hitter out, the live passer out. Taking the big part of the court, just a poor swing. So short serve, trying to take the passer out so the middle can come in on the other middle, and they hopefully set either middle or back. Takes the big part away, gets him. Now France is really playing some technical tactics here. I mean, they notice they've done a lot of different types of serves. They've switched up their tempo, their offense. They've placing the ball short here. Power, 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 power. And then now he even shortens it up here. But David Smith here, you can see the middle for USA's being that fourth passer. So I don't like when middles get so close to the net. Like, you'll see this so often. That middles will, like, stand here. And then they have to, like, run all the way around and get there. Just stand off in the court. You're not in anybody's way, but you can still pass this ball if you have to. It's just too good. He keeps his hands high. The middle keeps his hands high. On the commit. This is good. It's a great pass. It's a great pass, and he takes out the middle one-on-one. Christensen doesn't really repeat that often, so with the good pass to hold the middle. And you notice it's such a good serve that it takes Anderson out of hitting the pipe. So Anderson has to go this way to get it. So he's not a pipe threat. The middle sees this. You have to be able to see this. I'm sure they're looking at Anderson right now, noticing he's on the ground. So that's probably why he's going to commit with the middle again. This guy's releasing. This guy's releasing. They're just going to go one-on-one here. Because it is a perfect pass, though. You can see, so all guys release. All guys just take their guy. Once the ball's released, release on your guy. Sander tries to hit. His body is facing this way. This is where we're talking about body line. So his body is facing this way, but he hits wrist away. So he's trying to hit. He's trying to fool the hitter. Fool the blocker and going body line, and then he's trying to hit wrist away. He just mishits it, unfortunately. But you see his body is facing down the line here. This is called wrist away attacking. So if he had hit it line here, that's been body line. But he goes wrist away. He just barely misses it. It's a good play, though. It's one-on-one. He should put that ball away. He usually does put this ball away. Just mishits it. Leroux trying for that corner. He likes that corner. He just missed it. Good serve, but I mean, I don't like who the serving is to. The tactic is not very good. It's a good actual serve. Like, there's some pace on it, but you're hitting it too. I mean, if you're serving, I would hit the outside hitter. I would do what he did last time. You try to play with him left here, but you got basically two liberos almost for this team for France. I mean, you got Grebennikov and Ingapeth, who both pass perfectly. So any ball right here, even if it's hard, is not going to get you a point. So some good speed outside of his body. Now you can see his angle is not too flat. You can see his right shoulder is over the ball. If you have to pass an outside of your body on a jump serve, you've got to get your shoulder here, not just so the shoulder's like flat like that. You see how you can see both shoulders making a V instead of just both shoulders being flat like that. That way it just doesn't skip off and go that way. He's getting around. His right shoulder is above the ball. You notice his right shoulder is above the ball here. On contact. I mean, it's a good serve, don't get me wrong. It's in the corner deep. He just makes a great pass. I still just wouldn't serve those two guys. I think Holt gets fooled here a little bit. I think he's thinking too much. His hands are low. He's kind of Holt's the middle here. Just look at his feet. He doesn't really know what to do. He's just reacting. It's a tough play. He tries to help. If anything, I would try to keep my hands a little bit wider. I would try to keep my hands a little bit more of a V. He kind of gets skinny right there. His left arm gets skinny. But I mean, it's just, we're trying to figure something out, obviously. There's no perfect answer. It's a fast offense on a perfect pass, on a perfect set, on a perfect hit. So you're just trying to figure out something to do here. The guy tees off on him. You're just trying to figure out what to do next for next time. Another great serve, kind of low. This serving to the, I mean, France is really executing their serving really well this game. You can see this little short pass. I mean, Boyer, the server here, is a pretty hard server. He waits to the last second and then chops it. And so Sander has to make that step and move forward. You're just trying to make that passer just move 1 or 2 feet so they both collapse to the ground. So it's a great tactical serve. 3-man block. And you can see Tinueti. It's almost, I don't know, it's almost like luck that this doesn't get touched. He goes up late, and he hits through that seam. It's just because Tinueti's small. Sometimes small is good. Like, I know this sounds whatever, but since he is small, it goes over the top with no touch. But he's solid. If it did touch him, it would be a solid block. So he just goes over the top and misses him barely. You see that? So just don't be a target. His hands are at least strong. He's not like trying to do too much. Your middle will close to you. So the middle's hands are closing back into the court. But Tinueti not trying to reach too high. He just knows his limitations. His hands are strong. And he lets him go over the top. He seals the line, so he can't go line release on him. He gets outside of the line. So this is for all blockers, pin blockers. See how he's lined up on the line, Tinueti. So if he does try to hit low line, then at least he'll get him low line. So he takes it away, and then the other 2 blockers will close. I want to really emphasize that on a 3-man block, you got to take the line, his line, not... See, if he gets the true line here, then it's too much, obviously. The ball is set here. So now this antenna is really like here. So this is the new line, basically right here. This is the new line. So the new line is here, because the ball's here. And Tinueti is taking the body line around right here. His body line's coming this way. Now if the set was here, and his body line was coming that way, then obviously Tinueti has to be right here on the antenna. But he's moving over because he sees the play develop. So if you're a pin blocker, you got to be able to move to your pin hitter, create the new line. That makes sense, hopefully. See, he's still outside of his body here. So you can see Tinueti. Tinueti is still outside of Sander here. Sander's here. So Tinueti's still outside of him. He's creating this line right here. He's blocking this line outside of him. See that? He's not standing on the true line. He's creating the new line. There we go, just a recap. I still like this hit, big arm swing. I just don't like the serve placement. Quick move by Ingapeth. I like the serve placement, I just don't like those 2 guys standing right there. Those two in particular, they're the two best passers. Short serve drops it. Passes set, creates new line. Over the top. I guess they get a touch. I guess they get the call. Maybe it was in, maybe they reviewed it, I don't know. It does look out though. But with the replay stuff, he may have gotten a small touch. Ben pass missing the net low. He missed in the net really low before. Now he misses in the net a little bit higher. So that's 2 misses out of 2 serves for him. USA's missed probably six serves, I think, in this set. Great pass. Pretty good hit. He's jumping out. Does this really interesting jump out kind of thing subconsciously. Great pass. I don't like how he's coming in and out though. This is not on purpose. Nobody does this. He comes in and then accidentally comes out. I would love to see him just get another foot and then come that way and then really get some speed on that ball. There's no way he's doing this and this on purpose. Ingapeth, I don't necessarily like what he does right here. He's a small block, and going V with a little bit of help enables a lot of spacing open. Enables that, and that. I mean, it's a lot of space if you go 2V too early. And he tries to close it. I think he hits a field goal. I think he's kind of baiting him. Sometimes they go V and then they like close it like a trap. I think he does that right there. Yeah, I think he's pulling his arms together. Yeah, he pulls his arms together like a trap, but it's a little bit too late. See that? So if you are going to do a V and you're going to trap him, you want him to hit in the middle of you, you got to be a quick move. You got to time it so perfectly though. It's mostly a middle kind of thing. Middles usually kind of do the V and then close. So that's a V and then close. It's usually a middle kind of thing. There's Sanders slow. Nah, Sanders missed another serve. This is a set first set. I'm sure they're gonna serve a little better. Monster attack. Sanders, his best attack, I think, is that pipe attack. He can really bring a hammer down on that one. It's the same kind of thing, though. The middles. So look here, this is row 5 here. Interesting enough, the middle, instead of having, the middle over here, everybody over here, or over here, he kind of just stands right in the middle. So that way he can still get to his spot and then run that diagonal kind of play. So this is what Brazil used to do all the time. This is a huge Brazil, old school Brazil play right here. Mid-2000s Brazil play. So the middle takes his steps and gets to this kind of spot. This is where they can run a gap or a go. They run the gap go here. And then the middle comes this way, so it feels like everything is going that way. Because the middle's flying this way. And then they run that pipe over the top of it. So he comes flying in. And now the relationship here is that the pass was not perfect. So the pass got moved, so he has to move 3 feet. So instead of setting it from here where he wants to, obviously he's standing right there, he wants to pass right there. He has to move now, and now this is his new middle. So Sanders can't just come like this. He has to go around and hit. So hitters that's hitting a pipe, you got to have that relationship with the setter. It takes practice, a lot of practice, and it's not just talking about it. It's got to get a lot of reps. You got to just kind of start throwing balls out there and just hitting it really early in the season. To have this pipe kind of thing down, if you're a high school team, you're a club team, you got to really practice this in the fall. If you're going to try to practice this in the middle of the game, it's kind of like foolish. So that's a huge fall thing. You don't want to look foolish. So also technique-wise, hitting all these little attacking techniques you want to be able to do in the fall, in the beginning of the season. That way, because it takes so long to develop them, and then when the season starts, you can work on passing and all these other things. Serving, you can do those things before the game even starts. You can work on those things a lot, but you don't want to change your techniques. You definitely don't want to change your hitting mechanics or try to change those things at all, like during the game or mid-game or mid-practice or mid-season. It's really difficult to change those things. It's a good job from here. He passes from here and then he comes all the way around. Yeah, it's just a kind of a shoot set. They haven't set Anderson in a while. I mean, he's their big gun. It's 21-14. I would start getting him ready. I would start getting him pretty set up for the next set. And this game's pretty far out of reach. So again, middle comes here and then to attack. Or he's going to come there to attack. So he's going to run that gap in between them. So he's not just standing here and coming straight down like this. He's getting to a spot, and then he can play the gap, or he can come fast here. This is for middles. Yeah, so he's running that gap. Oh, that was play before. Max Holt, good speed. He does a lot of good twists here with his upper body. So you can see him staying tall. Stays tall. There's that 90 degrees. Elbow here, elbow there. Elbow really high. I'm not going to go over hitting mechanics too much. I've done that in other videos, but stays tall, twists. Stays tall, twists. You can see his number. His number's to the left. His number's in the middle. His number's to the right. His hips are facing to the left. His hips are facing forward now. Now his hips are facing to the right. Sorry, to the left. His hips are facing to the right, then the forward, then to the left. Good torque. Good speed, overpass. Anderson gets to about his spot. Just step closes. You don't need a huge, lengthy approach. Just high flat shot. Yeah, it's 21-16. I mean, I know it's missed serves, but at this level of the game, when you're playing these type of teams, you have to be serving tough. Now the play before with Smith, David Smith. He did that run and then they set outside and Boyer got him on that. He just released and got him. So he is going. So Boyer, the middle. Sorry, not the middle. Boyer, the opposite for France here. You can see he's going, and then he reacts. Look at his feet. He puts some energy in the ground, and then jumps back into the court. So he is going to Anderson a little bit. He is leaning to the right. You can see that foot right here, this foot. You can see that foot leaning to the right, but then he kind of hops it. A little bit of a hop right there. So he puts force back. He puts force into that way, so to propel him back that way. And last time when he set, also the game is all about finding the next play, whether in the next play, predicting the next play, adjusting to the next play. If you notice the one before Micah Christensen set David Smith, it was a low inside set that he got a kill on. It was kind of like a low shoot. It was a gap. But David Smith kind of like barely hit it through right here. If you rewind and watch that play, David Smith barely hit it here. So Micah, in his mind, he's thinking, I got to get it up higher and faster. So he can't set this ball again like that. So he overly compensates. I mean, I know this is what he's thinking. You have to be thinking this throughout the whole set. The setter knows every single set he's done the whole set and what he has to do to fix it. So he knows the last time he set David Smith was a low inside gap set that kind of barely got through. So this time he tries to adjust and he overshoots it. But at least he's doing something. He's trying. So that's too high and too fast. See, it's over his shoulder now. So he has to reach over his head. You never want to see your arm. You never want to see your arm doing that to attack. It's always got to be straight ahead this way. Once the ball gets over your head, you're done for. There's no speed. So once the ball's over your head, directly over your head like that, there's no chance. But that's because Micah was trying to compensate for last time he set him. Again, great serve right here. This is the live passer, Anderson. You want to serve him short so he has to move. You either want to serve him deep here. If I was going to serve this guy right now, if I was going to float serve, I would want to serve either short, make him move, deep in the seam, or deep in that corner. Anything else is easy. You don't want to get him in here because he's already in his route. You want to get him to move way back here, you want to get him to move way back inside, or you want him to collapse so he has to pick himself up and then go out. So he's chosen the drop shot. There we go, just right. Third time is the charm. Third time's the charm with this set. So there, Micah was determined to get that set correct. He had kind of screwed up twice in a row on it. A lefty pipe, it's interesting little back play. Here's Ingapeth. Great little seam serve. Oof. Ben Patch on the left, they do not set this that often, and I'm sure France was not thinking that they were going to. They were probably thinking definitely Matt Anderson on the back. He was very effective. He plays opposite for USA a lot, but he is an outside hitter mostly. So I'm sure they were thinking he was going back. Yeah, you can see the middle here. Look at his feet. Definitely has fooled. Micah does a good read here. Sees his foot is being placed in so he can go that direction. See that? So he's leaning there and he's totally fooled. And then he has to hop and just tries to close the seam. Look at his feet again. So you can see that play. You can see that foot right there being placed so we can move that direction. So that we can go to Anderson. But nope. Then he has to he does a good job of a kind of, if you do guess wrong, then just hop and put your hands up before he hits it. So he does guess wrong, he hops, he tries to put his hands over before he hits it, but obviously you got a guy that's pretty ridiculous sitting over there. Yeah, pretty far over the net. But he does put his hands up before he hits it, though, so his hands are over the net. It just is a huge seam. And Boyer tries to close the seam. He does his best his job as possible. He's just over a little bit too late also. His hands are up here a little bit too much. That hand should be right. Try to be there when he hits it. But I mean, it's really hard. It's really difficult. Just trying to give you an option or an idea of what to do next time. I'm not saying I could have done this different. I'm not saying anybody could have done this different. I'm just trying to give ideas and trying to help out what you should try to do. See, he reacts pretty late, but his hand's really far over there. That point there. Anderson, good serve, should have had. Ooh, back quick. I haven't run this once yet. So perfect pass. The middle is fooled. Great overload. I mean, there's not much you can do here in this perfect pass. You got the middle running from the here. You got either one of these. And Tinueti's kind of a short setter, so it's kind of deceptive because the ball's being lobbed over, in a long distance. So you're not sure if it's going over the player or he's going to get the ball for the middle. So it makes it kind of difficult. But I still don't like. I know a lot of players, and I know USA Volleyball teaches to have the hands kind of close to the hips and have your hands open and palm, but if you're not the tallest middle and you're below the net already like this, I still like the hands a little bit higher. And that way you can at least tap and give something, because right now this is just, there's no chance. If he doesn't jump, there's just, I mean, this is just giving up. This is a kill 100% of the time. So I don't love what David Smith did there, but, I'm sure he would like to have that one back too. Sure, he would like to have that one back too. It's okay though. Alright, so that's the first set. I know it took a little longer than I thought, so I'm not going to go through the whole match. And I will hopefully post other games later. But hopefully you got something out of this. So enjoy.